Well, I think we will begin. Um, my name is Terry Hatmaker. I'm with Saran Systems. Along with me, we have Chris Widener from our marketing department, and Alex Clay, our CEO, is also uh, joining us today. Um, this is going to be a rather long webinar. I'm going to cover a lot of information. So I hope you all are comfortable and ready to dive into things. Um, as you all know, we're in a very unique situation in our country, actually in the world, and so um, we know there's a lot of interest in online activities, remote work, online giving, and such. So we hope that this information that we're going to give you today will be helpful as you all are making decisions in the coming days. If you look at the chat down at the bottom of the Zoom window, there'll be a chat button. You can click on that and you can ask questions at any time during the webinar, but we will answer them at the end. All right, well, let's get started. So what are we going to cover today? That's a big question because we're going to be covering a lot. But what we're going to be covering is the engage giving process overall. We're going to show you how to set it up on your end, how gifts are accepted by the church, how they're made by your people, and then how you would process them at the end. So to set up Engage, what do we have to do? Well, the first thing you have to have is a Web Ministry Tools login. So you'll log into Web Ministry Tools, and then at the top of the Web Ministry Tool window, you'll see some buttons, and there'll be an Engage button and an Engage Giving button. And in those, we're going to show how to customize the Engage, and then we'll show you how to configure Engage Giving. We'll show you how to enter a giving memo, the payment type, how you put emails in for those staff that you want notified when a gift is arrived. And we'll show you how to create giving sets so that you can have multiple giving sets depending on your needs. Okay, so we're going to just dive in and go right to a demo. So, all right, so I have already logged in to my Web Ministry Tools. And you'll see at the top here that I have Engage and Engage Giving. So when you first get involved, when you're first starting to use Engage and Engage Giving, what you want to do is go under this Engage button. And here you're going to see that you will already have an Engage URL, and this is an important piece of the puzzle, and we'll talk about what you're going to do with that. Okay, your organization may be already filled in. If not, you can just click in here and enter in the name of your organization. In our case, it's First Church of Charleston. I love Charleston, South Carolina. So in addition to the name and the URL, you can add your church logo. So if I go out to my desktop here, maybe minimize this, I have a logo for the church right here. And you see it's not a large logo, it's a fairly small one. So if you look, the actual size of this is about 2 inches by 1.88. Just remember, you don't want a huge because it will start skewing. So I've got this logo, and so let's go back to, well, I closed Chrome. That wasn't smart. So let me go back, log back in, go in the user, and click on engage. Okay, so now what I can do at this point with the logo, I can click on upload. It will ask me to find that logo. I found it. I click open, and now it's been uploaded onto my Engage. And that logo will be present when at the login screens, and we'll be working on other things throughout the year. In addition to, there's additional things that you could set up here for Engage, like these items here. It's out of the scope of this webinar, but we'll be having others, and regarding the membership side. But what we want to do now is save our changes. And now we'll go to Engage Giving. Now, just before we do that, I want to make sure that you make note of this URL, okay? This is the Engage URL overall, okay, for specifically for the Engage product itself. Now, if I go into Engage Giving, you're going to see that it has its own giving URL. And so you have two different URLs that you can use on your website. And we'll talk about that. Actually, you have more than two, but you begin at least with two. Here is as I said, the new gift giving URL. You could also get a QR code if you wanted for that. A phone number is here, and this phone number is for text giving. Again, we're not going to be talking about text giving, but I just want you to know that text giving is a product that's right along with Engage. It has an additional monthly cost, but it is still part of Engage. Here is where you're going to enter in your giving memo. Now, this is a memo that's going to appear in the email that your giver receives when they submit their gift. So what I've done is I've gone over here and I have specced out a little giving memo that I want. And so I'm just going to copy that and go back over into my web ministry tool. And then I can also indicate what kind of payment type. Now, this is, right now we only have credit card, I don't have an online gift one set up. That would be my suggestion, is to create a payment over in CDM Plus and then come in here and change that from credit card to an online gift. That way you have a way of separating that credit card or that online gift from anything you entered manually, even though you can do that through other ways using the source of where a record in CDM Plus was created. The next item down is the staff email addresses. Now, these are the email addresses that you want to use for members of your staff that you want to receive notification that a gift has been entered online. And so I'll just put my email address in there. And I'm going to save these changes before I move on. Okay, so it's taken those changes, and we pretty much have the initial setup of online giving done. The only thing that we like is to be able to set up giving sets. Now, giving sets are is the main way we use to be able for you to select giving funds. Okay, you can have as many giving fund sets as you want, as many giving sets as you want. They give you the ability to have unique ones. So for instance, we could add a giving set here, and we'll call this one tithes. Okay, and we'll say create this giving set. Well, we could select the tithes giving fund, okay? And that would be the only fund that you have in that particular giving set. But then in addition, I could have another one. Let's say you're in a new building program, okay? So I could call this building fund and click on create. And now I'm going to look for the building fund. And in this instance, I'm going to take, this is the name of the giving fund in CDM Plus. And what I want is that when people see this in the web, in Engage, that they'll see the name building instead of building fund. Okay, so I will use that and click on Save Giving Funds. And let's just create a third. And this third one, we're going to call it missions. Okay, and so we have people that want to give to different areas of missions in our organization. So we're going to select the missions giving fund. We're going to come down and we will also select the needy family. And I'm just going to give that a description of need. And we will do a Thanksgiving offering and just Thanksgiving. And now we've created 3 different giving sets that you can use and deploy on your website, however you see fit. Okay, so I've got those created. I'm going to click Finish. And I want to go back to this, and I want us to look at this area down here with the giving sets. All right, there's some buttons here that are rather important for you to know. So we've got this tithe giving set already created, and we only had the tithe giving fund. So if I need to edit that, I can click on this icon, this button, and it'll bring up my list of giving funds again. And if I want, I can select, I said, well, I got the wrong one. I meant to select general fund 2020 because we're not using tithes anymore, but I want the general fund 2020 to have the description of tithes. So I change that and save my changes. This button here, if you hold over it, you'll see a little pop-up. It, excuse me, it is the button to copy this URL. This button will open the URL into a different tab. And this button is for you to be able to create a QR code that's related to this giving set. So like if I click on this, now you see down on my dock, I've got this nice QR code that is specific to the tithe giving set. And then you could put that around the church, you could put it into emails, all kinds of different aspects to be able to have people just use a QR code to get to their online, to that giving set online. Okay. So that really is all it is, all there is to setting up Engage. The next step we have to take though, and we're going to go back to our presentation here, is we need to deploy it. And so in the deploy, you're going to take either the Engage Giving URL or the new gift URL or one of your specific giving sets. Or you might want to put all of your specific giving sets and this new gift URL for giving on your website. But if you have a give button here, you need to make a decision on how you want to deploy that. Will this give button take your members directly to the new gift page, or will it take it to your page where there you will have buttons for the different gift opportunities they have? So that's something you have to decide upon. To deploy this, you just take these links and put them onto your website. And if you know how to do that on your website, that's great. If not, you get your web person and they will put these links wherever you need them so that your members can get to these gifts. So how do you promote? Because that's really the next step. You've got it all set up. You've got it on your website. How do you get the word out? Well, the best ways to do it are, promote it on your website, promote it through social media, send it out in your newsletters, do some mail outs if you want. The QR code might be a good instance of where you could use that in mail outs. Emails, again, it could be links or QR codes for your emails. With the situation that we're in now with so many churches not meeting because of the coronavirus, we would have also included, make mention of it during your services, and you still can if you're doing online services. But if you're not, then these are the best methods right now that you can use. So you've got this all set up. You've promoted it. You've deployed it. You're ready to go, but you're wondering, what can my people, what are they going to do with it? Well, your people can give as a guest. They can give as an engaged member. As an engaged member, they can go in and just with a couple of clicks, give the same gift that they gave last week at the same amount in no time. They can also set up recurring giving, and they can give by text. So they have you're giving your folks a lot of different options. The give as guest is the fastest way to do it, but it's not the only way, and it's not necessarily the best way if your members want to schedule gifts so they don't have to continuously go into Engage and give each week or each month or whenever they give. So let's look at this and see what it looks like from your people's end, okay? So we'll go back into Chrome. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I'm going to click on this link. This is the Engage Giving link. And I want you to see what your people are going to see if you use this link. So if I click on this link, it opens up and you see the name of the church here, okay? And now you see the 3 giving sets. Sometimes giving sets are difficult to wrap your head around because you're going, what is that? At least I've had that issue with me. But now you see, when they go into the Engage Giving and you use that new gift URL, they're going to see all the giving sets that you've created. And they can make the decision, I want to give to tithes, I want to give to building fund, I want to give missions. This allows you not to have one giving set with 8 different choices. They can make the choice right here and it'll direct them. Okay, so for instance, let's say I want to give to missions in this instance. So when I go into the missions fund giving set, I see the 3 funds that I selected, and I'm going to say I want to give $50 to missions, and I want to give $40 to the needy family fund, even though I just know it is need based on what I'm seeing here. Now, I said the fastest way to enter a gift is as a guest. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and you'll see continue as guest. And I'm going to click on continue. And the fastest way for them to do it is to give anonymously. But if you're a member, I don't think someone will give anonymously. However, people that are visiting your church website or visiting your church, they can do this if they don't want to give their name and information. So I'm going to not give anonymously, but I'm going to put in my name. And then I've put in my email address, and I'm going to click continue. Now it's going already to the credit card. Now I could do credit card or bank account. Okay, I could just do a bank account, and the fees are different. This is a flat fee and credit card is not. So in this case, I'm going to, gotta count this. All right, 2, 2, 3. All right, and I'm saying the billing information is the same as the giver, and I'll click continue. And I must not have got enough, so let's try that. There we go. All right, so now I'm at this page that's saying, okay, this is what you want to give. These are the funds you want to give, and this is your total, and the gift occurrence is one time. I'm ready to submit. So I click on submit, and then it asks me, do I want to? I'll click OK. And now this is going to go through the process of verifying the giver's credit card and those kinds of things up front. And so that way the system will know that you have a good credit card, and then it will come back and the gift will be submitted. Now, say, even though I'm not a member of the church and I wanted to give to this, once I click continue here, it's going to give me the option of creating an account to engage right off the top. Okay, so we'll see that. Now, the other thing is happening, you know, we're going to look at this later, what happens at that submit stage, okay? But at this stage, I can go through and I can create an account right now. So I'm going to click on yes. And so you see, it saved all of that information that I put in earlier. And now I don't have to do anything other than say, create account. And now I'll give myself a username. All right, so now I am going to be waiting on an email. And so here is the email that I received. Okay. And I take this information and I can copy it, or I can just click here. And so I'm going to click here. Oh, I forgot. It's bringing up my Safari. Let's go back, and I'll just take and copy this and pop it into this code like so, and check code. Okay, so it's accepted the code, and now I can put in a password. Now, as you're working with your people, please emphasize to them they need to write down and keep their username and their password, okay? Okay, so we've got that set in, and now I can come in here and I can log in. If for some reason they can't log in, okay, they can always click right here and click forgot password. When they do that, they've got to put in the email address that they used, okay? And then they will receive an email just like the one right here, where they just click or copy and paste this code into the reset password. So I'm going to log in. Okay, and so here's a gift summary, okay, from where we, you know, just it's taking us back to that gift summary page. And now I am logged into Engage. And under Engage, we are logged in and went right to giving. So now that I gave, I really want to um, set up a recurring gift. So I can just, since I don't know much about Engage, all I know is I see this new gift here. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to say, I want to start giving to the tithe fund. Okay. And so I want to give $100, and I want to do this once a month. Okay. So now I'm at a point where I'm setting up a recurring gift. I'm scheduling a gift. So it's monthly. By default, it comes up and says it's going to, this scheduled gift is going to occur indefinitely. Well, I don't want it to go indefinitely. I want it to start on the 22nd, and I want it to end at the end of the year. So I could either let it go indefinitely, or I can set a beginning and end date, okay? And right down here, what you see is it will tell your giver how many occurrences there will be for this gift. So they know that 10, it's going to be $1,000 over this year. So I click on continue. It's remembered the account that I used as well. So I don't even have to enter in my credit card number anymore. It's remembered that. So it remembered my contact information, and it remembered my account information from the previous gift. So now I have that, and I click on continue. Again, I can look at this and verify, and then I'm going to submit the gift. And so right now, in the last few minutes, I've sent a one-time gift as guest. I've created a new account and set up a monthly reoccurring gift of $100 in a span of just a few minutes. Okay. Now, once your people are logged into Engage, they have opportunity to look at the gifts that are scheduled. These are the recurring gift, and you'll see there's the gift that I just created. If I want to, since this start date's not until March 22nd, I can come in here and I can edit this. I can change the amount. I can change this back to recurring definitely. I can select different giving funds. I can do all kinds of things here. I can also look at my giving history. And just like I said earlier, just a couple of clicks to give again. They come in here, they go to their recent online gifts, and here's that $90 gift. They can just click give again. And when they do, all they have to do is click continue, and boom, they would be giving again. So very quick ways for your people to give, different avenues. They can also look at their giving history. They can look at accounts that they have, okay? And if they've set up their bank accounts, they can do that here. They can start creating their own accounts, before they make the gift, and that way they can choose which way they want to give at the point of creating their gift. Another thing that you have here is under profile. They can select, if they have multiple email addresses that's associated, they can select the primary email address. And if you all have text giving, they could type in their telephone number. Okay. And when they do that, it's going to be sent to their phone. And at that point, they'll validate it and it'll be good to go the next time they go to send a gift via text. So invalid number, let's just cancel that. Okay, so that's a quick demonstration of a couple of capabilities that you have of giving through Engage. Now let's go back and we have submitted our gifts, right? So some things happen. One of the things that, one of the big advantages of CDM Plus is the way it handles gifts after they've been submitted, and how they'll save you time, because you're not going to have all of these gifts to enter manually through the CDM Plus batch contribution window. So what happens? Well, funds are taken from the giver and sent to stewardship. Giver and staff are notified, okay? Now, what that means is they're notified via email. A gift is created in CDM Plus, and then after 2 days, funds are deposited in your bank, and deposit is processed into CDM Plus Ledger. So all of those things are happening after the gift is submitted. So let's just see what happens. We've submitted our gift. This is what happens next. First, an email is sent to the giver. An email is sent to the staff, and the gift is submitted to stewardship. At this point, if they've given as a guest, then, or they're not logged in to engage, it will go into process pending gifts. If they are logged in to engage, the gift will automatically be added into the CDM Plus contributions. All of that done right from the submitting of the gift. 2 days later, that gift clears. What happens then? Well, at that point, the monies are deposited in the bank, and the gift shows up in deposit processing on the accounting side of CDM Plus. So get this straight now. This is something that when you use a third-party online giving solution, you don't get the automatic gift being added to contributions, and you definitely don't get the the deposit going over into the accounting program. All right, so that's what happens after it clears. Then at this point, now the staff gets involved in processing. You're going to process the staff gifts. You can process the pending gifts that are in contributions. These are pending because CDM Plus cannot make connections between a giving unit and the gift that's coming in. So these would be you would tie these process pending gifts to visitor records potentially. Okay. So the staff is now going to go into, and they're also going to go into deposit processing, and they're going to start processing the deposits that have showed up. And what happens then is a ledger entry is created in CDM Plus. And at that time also, you get an update to the gift that was added automatically or was added through process pending gifts, and saying that it's posted. So you've got a complete solution here from the moment the gift is submitted to the time that you have to process that information for giving statements, i.e. what goes on in contributions, to the monies of operating the church over in accounting. So that's a lot of stuff. Let's see if we can look at some of it, okay? First thing I want to take a look at is what emails did I receive, okay? All right, so you can see some things here. Let's go back to the very first one I got. Okay, and here we go. We have this one here. And remember, I said that there's going to be a gift. There are staff in your church that will be notified of a gift that's come in. Well, my email address was the address to receive that notification. And here is one of the notifications. And you can tell that this is one that says use process, it says use the process pending contribution window to process this gift. So this email even tells you where this gift has gone, okay? So in this particular instance, you know that this is a gift of an individual that is not in your database. You have their contact information, and you also have the transaction, the reference number, and the fund that they gave to, the funds they gave to, and the total. Okay. Now, because I use my other email, at the same time, the giver is getting a letter, getting an email, and here is that giving memo that I typed up. And again, I have information. They have information about what they gave, where they gave it, and what credit card they used. Okay. Now, one thing to be warned of is that when these things come across on their credit card statements, it's going to have the name of the church, but it's not going to have the city and state of your church. It will have Mount Vernon, Ohio as a city and state. So, you know, that's just to let you know if someone questions that, okay? Mount Vernon is the location of where Stewardship Technologies is. Now, if you remember, after I created this gift as a guest, I went in and created my own account. And so some other things happened in CDM Plus. And here are the things. My email address was not in CDM Plus, so it couldn't find me. So therefore, what it did is it created a new individual record for me. It also created a new address record and created a new giving unit record for me. So you don't have to even enter any of those for people that are not in your database. Okay. In addition, when I submitted that recurring gift, after I set up that gift, I wanted to create a recurring gift. So I got a notification here that a recurring gift has been set up. Okay, this is to the staff. So the staff is saying, okay, this person just gave a one-time gift, but they've also set up a recurring gift of $100 across for a period of 10 months. Okay, so you know this information. These might be things that you might want to hold on to. In addition, me as a giver receives an email and says, okay, this is what you just did. You've used this credit card and you're giving monthly 10 times. Okay. So that's the notification of the staff and the giver. I need to go to CDM Plus now. So if we go back and just look at this, so we've looked at these two, stewardship's going. Now it's 2 days later, okay? But we've got this. So let's go into CDM Plus. And let's look for some of these gifts. So first thing I'm going to do is let's look at the one that was logged in. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to see this one that's logged in. I just thought of that because this is a recurring gift that's not going to fire until Sunday. So we won't see that one, but we do have a process pending gift that we should see. So I'll come into program and I'm going to select process pending contributions. Now there are some administrative settings that you'll need to look at. We'll go in administrative settings here in a couple of minutes. Now you can see that we do have one old one, but that other one hasn't hit yet.
Hey, Terry.
Yeah. Oh, I know why. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep. The reason why is
actually, so Terry, because after you created your gift as a guest, you chose the option to go ahead and create an account.
Yes.
When Engage then set up a giving unit and everything for you, it went ahead and processed that gift directly to your giving unit.
Oh, okay.
So
I
it's
learned
already
something.
over in contribution records.
All right. Good. So we can see that. Great. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
There it is. So I'm going to reconcile. So I'm pushing the limits here of it's a fast 2 days. How's that? So now I'll close this. Come back in to contributions. Okay, Alex, what'd I do wrong?
Okay, so sorry. So there's no process pending contributions. So if you go to contribution records,
oh, so
it's already there. Yes.
Okay, so it took that processed one because I created a new one.
Yes.
Ah, I misunderstood you. Got it. All right, so we can just go right to contribution records. And just to show you, we're going to go and look for last name. Okay, so March 19th. There is that $90 gift that I gave as a guest. The other gift is scheduled, hasn't fired yet. Correct, Alex? That's why it's not in there.
That is correct.
So the guest one, when I created a new account, it automatically related to, and no need to go to process pending gifts. The next one you'll be receiving for this person would be come Sunday when it fires for their first scheduled gift of $100. Okay, so that's what you would see from the process pending side of things or the contribution side. But now that everything's cleared, I can also go into Ledger and I can go to deposit processing. And that's where once this gift is cleared, it goes into deposit processing. Okay. And so there is the $90 gift. And as you can see, at this point, we have the breakdown by giving fund, but also the breakdown by your accounting chart of account funds. And in addition, you also can see the fees that are associated with this particular item. And speaking of fees, fees are calculated, okay, at the time the gift settled. So that's why you can't see any of this until then. And you'll be able to see it here. And if you want to keep a record of this information, you can right-click this and click on Print. And I'll just do a refresh. And now you can see, you can keep a record of your fees as well as what items are going to be processed into your ledger. Okay. So I'm going to come back to deposit processing. I'm going to select this one. And now what I do is I just come up here and I say mark for processing. So it goes from yellow to green, and then I click continue. You're just going to go from this point, mark them for processing, and then continue, and it will take you to the post window where you can post these to your ledger. And like I said, when you post it to your ledger, it will then add the gift. It will be updating that gift to show that it's been posted to ledger. All right. Sorry about that. I did not realize that I was set up for advanced fund accounting. So the last thing we want to do is we want to just take a quick look at something that you can do for people that really want to give online, but they don't feel like they can do it, or they don't feel comfortable and they want some help. And you know, it's hard to do it. They're at home and you're at home because of the virus, and they want to give online. How do you do it? Well, you can enter and manage their online gifts for them in CDM Plus. That is a huge thing that you'll be able to help some of these people get online, and you don't even they don't even have to be online. They don't even have to do a thing. You can do it. Let me show you. So we go back into CDM Plus, and first thing I want to do is I'm going to go to administration. There's some things that we have to make sure that are set up properly. All right, so I'm going to go into administration. And so there are a few things, there's some things you want to do. So the first thing you want to do is select the user. I'm logged in as the accountant, so I'm going to select the accountant and say no for this point. Okay. And I come down on the right side and I look in the upper portion here, there's this selection here called individual. What this is going to do, you want to select your individual record in CDM Plus. Now, you could say, well, I don't have one. Well, the best thing you do is add one for you and make it do not print, and do not don't put it into a mailing group or any groups, or and say do not print on the individual record. So in this case, I'm going to click on select individual. And I'm going to choose first name, and begins with Judy. And there's Judy Fitzpatrick, and she's in there. So I'm going to select her name. And now Judy's name is there. And you're going to see why this is important. So I've scrolled down through here, and I want to make sure that there's some things that are specific to online giving that you're aware of. Under the contribution section, you want to make sure that process pending gifts is selected for the people in your staff that will need to process those gifts. I could get to them because this was already marked. If I go under accounting, likewise, you want to make sure user can access deposit processing is selected. And as you go farther down in the list here, you'll get to engage/WMT. Now, you want to have whoever's going to be managing your engage and online stuff, be it online giving or membership, whatever, you want them to have access to these two items. User can administer engage credentials and allow user to administer member giving, okay? So both of those should be checked, and then you click save. Close that window. And what have we done? Well, first of all, we already saw this. Process pending gifts is active, and deposit processing is active. The one from the Engage where you could administer credentials. What does that mean? If I go to individual records, and I'm just going to do default last entry made. Last entry made should be the one for me. And you can see now down in the bottom right of your individual record, you have online credentials, and you can see what the giver put in for their username. You can, if they want to change that, they could, you could change it for them. You could clear it. You could transfer it to another individual record, whatever you need to do. Okay. But what I really want to show you is what happened in giving unit records when we said, give you the access to manage a person's online giving. So let's just, once again, let's just do the last entry made, be mine. And let's just say I lost all access to the internet and I need help. And I've called you and I said, I'm desperate. I need you to make a change to my online giving. I can't do it. And you say, okay. So you pull up a person's giving unit record, and now there's a new tab called online giving. As you can see, it's bringing up Engage within the giving unit record. So now I'm logged in. I see my 3 giving sets. Come up here. I can go to my scheduled gifts. This is you working in your giver's Engage account, either setting it up or modifying it. So let's just say you have a person and we will go to Judy Jones. And we're going to go over to the individual record. And there's Judy. And we're going to click on change. Whoop, sorry about that. You don't have to click change. You're going to click create account. And I'm going to give it a Judy Jones username. I'm going to come in here because I don't want someone to get an email that they shouldn't receive. So we're going to go hit save. Okay, so what I've done now is I've created an Engage account for this individual. Okay, and now let's go back to giving units. Notice now it says Judy. Create an account for her. And now I can come in and she wants to set up ties of $30 weekly, starting this Sunday, recurring indefinitely. Okay, I don't have any credit cards or bank information, so I'm going to click on create a new account. I could use a bank account, a new bank account if I wanted to. Don't have one off the top of my head, so we're going to just call this Judy's Visa. Put in a credit card. Her address is already populated from her record. Click create account. Yep. Engage is creating that account. It's done it. And now I can continue. Comes to, here's the confirmation of what you're wanting to do, and you click submit gift. And now you've submitted the gift. Judy's at home. She knows she's asked you to do this. She's giving you the information, right? So all of that's good. And Judy's at home, and all of a sudden, Judy gets an email saying, thank you for your gift. And she knows that you've set that up for her, and she's all ready to go and doesn't have to worry about giving at this point. Okay. Well, that's a lot of information. I hope I hit everything that I wanted to hit and everything, but right now what we want to do is see what kind of questions you have and see how well I am at answering these questions.
Good job, Terry. Got a couple of specific things that a few people, we got several questions, but we got a couple of specific things folks were hoping you could show them. The first one was Janet was asking if you could walk through what's needed for a one-time or an anonymous giver.
Okay. Oh, I forgot this. I knew I forgot something, but we'll go back to that. All right, so I'm going to log out of here. All right, so let's get to this page. All right, so an anonymous giver, let's say they come up to this page and they want to give to missions and they want to give to the needy. And so they want to give $25. All right, so they're going to give a one-time gift. All right, they're not going to, that's the only thing they want to do. So they're going to choose once. The gift date is set here. They could choose a different gift date if they wanted, just like anyone else could. And then they choose continue as guest. And if they want to give anonymously, since I showed you a one-time gift, if they give anonymously, they just click chat that, and then they put in their email address and then click continue. At this point, they still have to enter. They still have to enter their credit card and their contact information. Okay, so Joe Smith, let's say. And once they have that information in, they click continue. And as you see, it's all of this step is the same. So they click on submit and then click OK.
Hey, Terry, Sue's asking, what happens if the donation is not successful in processing?
Alex, I think
Yeah,
I need to...
that's fine. I was in the middle of typing a response. So one of the reasons it's pausing right here is to make sure that we can verify that the card is correct. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can get past this step and have the funds still fail to be collected. So a bank account, that's not verified until it tries to go through the banking system that night. The cards could later be rejected, especially if it's a debit card. When that happens, you should get a notification from stewardship to say the transaction failed. Terry's going to show us some documentation we have. It's a guide to engage giving, and it outlines exactly what you need to do when you get one of those notifications, and also how you can proactively look for those failed transactions. And another piece that we'll be adding into CDM Plus a bit later this year is to enhance the deposit processing window. So that it'll not only process the deposits that come through, but it will handle failed transactions and refunds completely. But what you need to do today is outlined in this guide.
Well, while this is going, let's see if I can take another question.
Sure thing, Terry. Let's see. Christine was asking if you could, well, here, we'll come back to that. Let's start back up here. We had quite a few. What is the additional cost for text giving? Andrea Hampton's asking that.
$5 a month.
Unlimited texts.
Unlimited.
Hey, Terry, just want to let you know the reason that's timing out for you. It looks like there's an issue at one of the data centers down in Atlanta, which is hosting Confluence, and also a number of the hosts, including the one where your database is. And somebody just commented in the chat that they lost their connectivity. We'll check in with that provider to see what's going on.
Okay.
Hopefully, it's just a temporary outage. It's not all of our systems. It's just appears to be the colo down in Atlanta.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll take another question and I'll see what I can do.
Okay. It says, can you do a fund as other and the giver can label it?
Terry, what they can do is they can put an other on there, and then and I don't think you called it out directly, on the confirmation screen, there's a spot to put a gift memo, and somebody can direct how they want that gift adjusted.
Yeah, but they have to have a specific giving fund called other.
That's correct.
And so, yeah, you can have a giving fund called other and then direct it that way. Yep.
Kibo Martin is asking, what's the advantage of text giving?
It's probably the fastest way to give, because once they set it up, they would just type in, based on whatever commands that you have. Let's say you set up your, I wish I could, I don't know if I'm not going to be able to get to that now, darn it. You set up you could set up a command like tithe, and that command on the text to give would be tied to your tithe fund or your general fund 2020 in my case. Okay. And then, so with that in the text giving, I would just type tithe $20, send. And then it's going to ask me a question like, is you want to, you giving this to such and such giving fund? Yes. You type in yes, hit send, and then it submits. It's like 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, boom, they're done.
Gotcha. All right. Andrea Hampton was asking, how does a member gift connect to CDM Plus contributions?
How does a member gift connect to CDM Plus contributions? Is that what the question was?
Yes.
Okay, so if you remember in this chart, in this diagram, when a member of your church is logged in as an engaged member, it's gonna, right when they submit their gift, Engage is going to create, there's going to be a contribution record created at that time for that gift that they submitted. Okay, if you remember, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it. Because this is not connected anymore, I don't think. So, but basically what it does is, I mean, when you're in batch contributions entry and you create a contribution, it creates a contribution record in CDM Plus that's tied to the batch contribution window. So therefore, what you're doing is bypassing all of that. When they're logged in as an engaged member, it's creating a contribution record for you. You don't have to do anything.
Gotcha. All righty. Let's see here. Someone was asking, can you put the online giving links on your Facebook page, or does Facebook have a problem with this? Well, we can put the links anywhere. Isn't that correct, Terry?
Yeah, you could put them anywhere. I mean, if you're using a Facebook page as your main website, you should be able to do that. I don't know of any. I mean, Chris, do you know any issues?
No, not that I know of. All right. See, Barbara's asking, is there a way to offer the member guests the option of paying the fee for credit card or the flat fee? Thinking not currently.
Not currently.
If they're giving from their bank account, I guess adding 30 cents would cover the fee, right?
Yeah. Yep. If they're doing a bank, but from a credit card perspective, it's hard to know.
True. Let's see. Here's a question. It says, we don't use Engage, but people give to the church and our treasurer sorts it out as to where it goes and credits the individual for the giving. This giving with Engage, is this an easier process?
Yes, that's what this whole diagram is basically, hopefully showing you. When you have a third party that's giving you, that you're using for online, the way that they send things into, from my experience with working users, the way they send things into your bank, it makes it very difficult for you to be able to reconcile things in CDM Plus, because you're entering ledger entries for contributions, because this gift has come through, but it doesn't necessarily match up with the numbers that you're seeing at the bank. With Engage, because all of this is tied together, it just makes things smoother. You'll all of that stuff will be handled for you. Your staff doesn't have to worry about entering in the ledger entry. They don't have to worry about entering in the contribution record. All of that is done.
All righty. I was just looking at, we've got a ton of questions here, but one of them that just jumped out at me was that Barbara was asking if she could get a copy of the PowerPoint from this meeting.
Sure, you can post that up on the website when we post the recording.
Let's see. If they create an account, does CDM Plus automatically add them into the membership and create an address and an individual record?
Yes.
Okay. And if they're already in CDM Plus, will it attach their record or will it create a new one?
It will create a new one.
Okay.
And that you'll have to handle that. And there is in the Engage Giving documentation, there is some information on how to go about that.
Okay. Let's see. Does the giving history show all giving in CDM Plus or just online giving? Carol's asking.
Giving history shows all. Recent online gifts are just those gifts, last 10 gifts that have been made online.
Hey, Terry, I'm going to jump in here for a couple of things real quick.
Sure.
I just want to let you know that I confirmed with our colo provider that they are experiencing an outage and they're currently working on it. I asked if they have an ETA for when that'll be back, and the message was, we just discovered it, so I believe it is being assessed right now. So I sort of assume they are right on it. This is something that they're taking a look at. So as soon as they pop it back up, everything will start working. I assume all of our servers are running just fine.
Good.
I can go in and there's a couple of questions that I just wanted to respond to directly. There's a question about the true cost. So I want to sort of explain how the cost is broken down a bit. So essentially there are two parties to that you're going to have fees for, which is Saran and Stewardship, who provides our payment processing services. For Saran, the requirements to be on Engage Giving, obviously you need the CDM Plus software for giving or contributions and membership. If you don't use our accounting, we can make an allowance that you're able to still get to that deposit processing. So you need contributions and membership. You need to be on hosting. The price of hosting, if you're not there already, is $24.95 a month and up, depending on how much CDM Plus you own. Currently, you can go on hosting at no charge for the next 6 months, and that's we'll be happy to talk to you more about that. Once you got CDM Plus and you're hosted, then you need to enroll in the Engage service. Engage with Giving runs you $15 a month. If you want to add text giving, that's an additional $5, so that's $20. So what you're looking at in terms of fees to Saran is the cost of hosting and the cost of Engage added together. So that's going to be $15 a month plus whatever your hosting is for your particular configuration. On the stewardship side, there are 2 monthly fees. There is essentially their monthly service fee, which is simply just to have the account. That is $20, and they add $7.95 to that for a PCI compliance to help offset the cost of audits and security to make sure everything is kept safe. So that $27.95 is going to stewardship. Right now, stewardship is offering that, is waiving those fees for the next 3 months, just like we're waiving our Engage fees for the next 3 months for folks that want to get up and going really quickly as they're moving their services to be virtual and remote. So with stewardship, you're looking at $27.95 a month. Past that is the actual transaction fees. Those are a flat 30 cents per ACH transaction. For your credit card, it will vary tremendously based on the type of card. And that's not just whether or not it's Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. Stewardship actually breaks it down to the various types of credit cards. So if I have a really basic Visa debit card, there's lower fees on that versus a high rewards Capital One that's going to give me a lot of kickback as a card holder. In that case, if I've got that kind of Visa, you, the church, you're going to be paying a little bit more on fees to offset those rewards for the card holders. As we've analyzed actual giving to our clients, both small churches, large churches, in between, what we've found that is on average, you're going to see about a 3.5% charge on your credit card transactions. But those are calculated on each transaction based off the type of the card and also the amount. You're going to pay more fees on a $5 card than you will, or a $5 gift than you will a $100 gift. And this is simply how the payment processing works. So in terms of looking at the true cost, you're going to have your cost of data hosting to Saran, the Engage monthly fee to Saran, the $27.95 fee to stewardship, and then any per transaction fees on top of that. The only other fee that could be involved there would be support. You technically do not have to be on support with us to use Engage and online giving. However, we will occasionally require people update to a particular version so that they can continue to use new features as we roll them out. And if you're on support, those updates are included as part of that support fee. So I hope that explains how all the fees kind of break down. I know that's a lot, and to try and nickel and dime and piece together. If you need that written out, definitely give our sales team a call and they can kind of spec that out for you in a little greater detail.
Thanks,
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
Andrea has another question. She said, in the email, is the email address the only indicator of a gift, or how do you handle husband and wife givers with both trying to submit gifts with different email addresses?
The email address that's associated with each individual. So husband and wife, if, like for me, my email address is Terry at whatever. My wife's is Amy at whatever. Okay. If I was to put, when she, I go in and I sign up for Engage and I put my email address in, it will associate that email address with my name. Now, if there are, you have to have 2 giving unit records for each of the people. I wish I could really, let's see if this thing is, I'll connect to a local database. because I can show this. Trying to think which one I have updated already.
Terry, while you're pulling it up, I'm going to
Yeah.
run through some of the more recent questions.
Right.
While you were giving your presentation, I was trying to keep up with responses for people. So I'll go back up to where I last was. Geb O. Martin asked, I lost my train of thought. Can I set up someone without making an actual gift? Absolutely. So if you go to the that online giving, well, basically, if you go over to the individual records, you can create an account for them to get into Engage. Terry showed that a minute ago. And when you choose the email address on that window, it'll actually send that person an email with instructions to set up their password. So you can absolutely get them set up to log into Engage without actually doing the gift part. There was a question on if there's an easy to follow list of instructions for our church members to follow in doing this. The Engage Giving Guide, which once Atlanta comes back or lights back up, we can take you to, has some resources there. There's a YouTube video that's short and it's designed to walk people through how to use Engage. It's targeted towards your congregation members. There's also some straightforward steps you can kind of send them. I've seen churches that put a link to give on their site and then they actually go in and they write their own instructions. It's also designed to be fairly intuitive, so anyone who's pretty familiar with going onto a website can navigate that. There was a comment from John Groh saying this is an actual third-party program, not a CDM Plus program. That is incorrect. Engage is 100% developed in-house by Saran. It's an extension of CDM Plus that is designed to take your CDM Plus data, it connects it live on the web to your congregation and to visitors. So this is an add-on program to the CDM Plus that you use for your sort of back office, church office work. There's another question from Betsy asking if a parishioner creates an Engage account to access or appear on an online member directory, do they have to set up a separate Engage Giving account? That's a really good question. The answer is no. The Engage login is actually linked to your individual. So once you have that Engage login for giving, you can use it on membership. If you have one in membership, you can use it in giving. If you're doing online registrations, once the world is comfortable with congregating again, any safe payment information, for example, that you have can be linked back and forth. So it's all connected and it's linked to the same Engage login. Terry, I'll let you, looks like you're ready to go. So I'll let you jump in and then you can answer a few more questions.
Okay. All right. So in the scenario that was given to us, you have husband and wife they want to give separately. Okay. So what you would do, first of all, if I go into the giving units on the address record, okay, so you want to have one that is just Mr. James, okay, Smith, if you will, and then it would just be salutation of Jim. And over here where it says none assigned, what you're going to do is you're going to assign this as James here. And then down here, you would say Ms. What was it? Michelle. And you would select this individual record. What you're doing here is your giving unit records are associated with address records, but they also can be associated with individual records. And in this particular instance, what I'm doing is saying this giving unit, I want that associated with this individual record. And likewise, this giving unit associated with Michelle's. When you have that situation, you go from there, go into the email, and let's just set up the email addresses. And we'll say, here we'll say, this is jimsmith@foo.net. we come over here and we associate this email address with James. And this be Michelle Smith at foo.net. And we associate Michelle's email, this email, with Michelle's individual record. Now, with that set up, Michelle gets on Engage and wants to create an account. She enters this email address, and what happens is Engage goes in and says, okay, I found this email address. It's associated with Michelle Smith. Is there a giving unit that's recognized? So we found the individual record, okay? Now it goes and says, okay, what else is associated with it? It will find a giving unit for Michelle that's associated with that email address because that email address is associated with her individual record. I hope that was clear. And so they can have two separate Engage accounts going to two separate giving unit records. So they're for online giving. But just make sure you have your system set up the way I showed.
All right. Let's see, Janet asks, is a recurring gift added automatically to the pledge record?
If you are using your pledge giving fund, everything is based off giving funds. And so therefore, if your pledge fund is using General Fund 2020 and you have a giving set for that uses your General Fund 2020, any gifts that go to that will go into that giving fund. And if they've made a pledge to that giving fund, it will be associated on the pledge record.
Let's see, Betsy's, I think, following up to, if two Engage accounts, will they get two separate gift statements?
Engage doesn't dictate whether or not they get giving statements. It's CDM Plus that dictates the giving statements, and that's based on the giving unit records that are set up here.
Awesome. Janet said thanks. You answered her question.
Great.
Let's see. April's asking. She said, so when they make a gift, does the money just goes directly to accounting without needing to be checked first? What if people pick the wrong account?
Okay, first of all, one of the things is when you set up, and I can't show this. When you set up your giving funds, you associate those giving funds with an income account. If you're using online, if you're going to do online giving, you also want to associate a fee account for that specific giving fund, okay, as well. So in contribution setup under giving funds, this is where you're going to set up and say, okay, you know, here's my general fund. It's going to go to income account 4,000 and it's fee account. They don't select an account number from accounting for you. The funds that you post on your giving sets, you make sure that they're already set up with the right income account and the right fee accounts before you deploy that on your website.
Gotcha. Let's see here. And Nate's asking, well, actually, it's not Nate. Someone's asking, how do most churches present setting up like Engage? Do they just hand out copies of the URL?
Well, I mean, they could do that, but you could send it to it via email. You can tell them to go to your website in a newsletter or an email. Say, go to your website, show a little image of your website where that link is going to be. Like if I went to, I go back to, what is it, VCC, there we go. If I go back to this website, If I go to this site, they have this give link here. So you could say, you could take a screenshot of your website, put it in your newsletter and say, here you go to this link. And if I go to that link, it says here, thank you for your generosity. And it tells me online giving, give now, text to give, how to use the text to give, and so forth. So if I click on give now, it gives me an error. I wonder what happened
Terry,
there.
yeah, it's unable to access their server. You'd want to go out to somebody out on the west coast, hosted out of Vegas or Milwaukee.
Wow.
So let me jump in and answer a few more questions. There's a question about whether or not we can get the slides that are part of this presentation. Chris might have commented back on this. We'll post the recorded webinar to our YouTube channel. We will also we can also make these slides available if that would be helpful for sharing with a board or vestry or elders or minister, just to walk through things. That wouldn't be a problem. I think we can. Chris probably put that in the guide to engage giving, which is sort of an overview there. That would make sense. There's a question about whether or not Engage can take PayPal payments. It cannot. Engage is linked directly with Stewardship, and they provide all the payment processing. So you can do a credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. And then you can also do a direct ACH draw out of your checking or bank account. There was a question as to how do the individual donations appear on the church bank statement. So this is a point where the deposit processing that Terry was showing us really comes into play. When you go to deposit processing, the list on the left side of that window is essentially showing every deposit that has hit your bank account. And those deposits include from one to many, many, many gifts together. CDM Plus knows exactly which gifts are in that deposit, which is how with just a couple of clicks, you can actually just post that deposit directly into your ledger. So you're not going to see individual deposits for each gift. You will see one settlement per day from Stewardship that's going to include everything over the last couple of days coming through your Engage. Let's see. There was also a question about knowing what happens with the transaction fee. So I believe Terry showed where you can set the fee account on your giving fund. In deposit processing, CDM Plus will look at that overall deposit, turn around and say, okay, so how much fees were taken out of each of these gifts based on the fees charged on the payment method. And it will then tally those up to the expense account on your giving fund, and it will sum those together into individual debits to those expense accounts. So if, for example, you wanted to have one expense account for all of your online giving fees, everything will be debited to that one account. If you want to split it up and maybe say, here's online fees for a childcare center or for a different department, you can do that. And then in your ledger, those fees will be broken out based on however you've entered those fees there.
Yeah, see, if you could set up whatever fee accounts you want. You can associate them with whatever giving funds. So you can use different fee accounts, as Alex said.
And there's another question asking, who is Stewardship Technology? So Stewardship is a payment processor. We have partnered with them for the last 10 years plus. They are based out of Central Ohio. A couple of years ago, they were acquired by a much larger payment company, payment processing organization called Paya. But Stewardship has basically provided all of our merchant processing for all of our online products for the last decade. So they take care of interfacing with Visa and MasterCard, the bank system. They're the ones who actually do really all the money part of this. What we do at Saran with Engage and CDM Plus is we build the web interfaces that actually people key in their giving and their payment information, send all the payment information to Stewardship. We record the gifts and so on, do the email communication, And then we go back to stewardship when you go to deposit processing and say, okay, what's come through the bank and how do we need to then go from there to build a ledger entry. So stewardship is a separate company with whom we partner. Yeah, hopefully that clarifies who they are. Okay, so about 5 seconds ago, I started getting pings back from our servers. So it looks like they may have their act together in Atlanta. Terry, why don't you try pulling up a website there and see how we're doing? It's really because Christine said, you guys said you'd cover text giving, and then all of a sudden we have an outage, and she's like, are you still going to do it? So the firewalls decided to act right. So yeah, it looks like we're back in business. And everyone, I apologize greatly for the outage. Our provider's tech support says they will give us a post-mortem, which will give me some insight into how this happened, so we can make sure it doesn't happen again. And I understand exactly what stewardship is doing. Sorry, what the providing company, that's not stewardship, it's another company, is doing to mitigate further outages. So
I know things are quite unsteady right now, and I know that being tasked to get online giving up and going yesterday is a daunting process. So I hope this video or the webinar was helpful. Absolutely give our team a call if you have further questions. We've been putting lots of people on this week. It's been almost January levels in some regards for calls and activity. I really wish it wasn't happening for the reason it's happening, but we're getting people up and going as quick as we can. Again, I apologize for the outage earlier, but I really appreciate everyone's support, patience, and hopefully we can get you all through it. All right, very good. Well, thank you all very much. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Stay safe, wash those hands, and if you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a good afternoon.